Welcome to the February 16th, 2010 edition of C-Scope. My name is Danielle Konitsky.
And I'm Ariel Radicek. This week's top stories are Mardi Gras celebrations, Zero to Infinity art collection,
And also, Against the Grain, featured at the Cypress Art Gallery, graffiti around campus, and the blood drive.
Mardi Gras, also referred to by some as Pancake Day and most commonly Fat Tuesday, was this past week. The holiday was inspired by the ancient Roman celebration of Lupercalia. Here is how some students celebrated.
Currently, Cypress College has the pleasure of hosting Zero to Infinity, a collection of artwork by Victor Raphael and Clayton Spada. It can be found in the Photography Gallery. It is located on the second floor of the Technical Education Building 1. The exhibit features 8 out of the 20 original pieces. We captured some great footage. Let's take a peek. And while we're on the theme of art, the art gallery is featuring Against the Grain, woodworkers of California. They feature a bassinet and a series of ethnic guitars. But that's only the beginning. Here's a glance at the gallery.
There was a blood drive on campus at the Student Activities Center. Many students headed there to donate their blood. Those who donated blood received a free rock and roll style t-shirt.
Thanks to everyone who donated their blood on campus for this drive. Every pint saves lives.
Recently, students may have noticed that all bathroom mirrors have been removed. This is in part a move by school officials to deter graffiti. Graffiti has long been a part of campus and a scourge to janitors everywhere. From Here I Sit Brokenhearted to the always favorite, For a Good Time, Call This Number.
You know, I actually saw one of those. It said, call for a good time, 171-486-40397. So, you know, I called it, and let's just say I did not have a good time. Valentine's Day is a celebration for couples. Since Thomas is a bachelor, it may seem a bit awkward to see him at the showing of Valentine's Day the movie, but that's exactly where he was. Let's see his take on the film.
Over the weekend, I saw Valentine's Day, alone, in a crowded room full of jaded faces, which held a false pretense that this was not another ripoff of Love Actually. But as the lights went down, the all-star cast was waiting with machine guns of cuteness, ready to blast out the irony and force us to bear hug the pin plot. Director Gary Marshall is a dictator, forcing them to laugh at insincere jokes. In fact, he's an expert in finding everything about South Park that was funny and making it meaningless. However, his choice of who does most damage is not that obvious. He uses newcomer Taylor Swift, who turns her character into the American teenage embodiment of Joseph Stalin. From the moment she opens her mouth, you can feel the nonsense push you into the gulags. The other kingpin is George Lopez, who takes Mexican stereotypes further than Carlos Messina could ever imagine. There are no sacred cows, as even small children are explosive decoys. Anyone who was funny, like Anne Hathaway, are forced to turn in their humor at the halfway mark for a drawn-out ending that leaves the audience reaching for a big glass of yummy cyanide. The fact that Marshall has plans for a spin-off with Swift and Taylor Lautner proves that his plan for destruction isn't over. Please, Mr. Marshall, I don't want to see you suffer. If you want to go bankrupt, please don't do it morally. Just quit while you're ahead and know that you had a good run. If you're doing this just to get attention, please give me your address, and I will stop by one day and play shuffleboard with you. And now, over to Andrew.
Borderlands was released October 20th, 2009 for the PlayStation 3, Xbox 360, and PC. It's a fast-paced, first-person shooter that rewards players for collecting as much as they can. The game is set on the planet Pandora. no relation to the planet from the recent motion picture Avatar. On Pandora, there is a legend pertaining to an ancient vault. The one who finds the vault is rewarded with money, weapons, and power beyond belief. This has caused treasure hunters to come to Pandora and search it. Pandora lacks any government rule, causing it to be completely lawless. Players are able to pick from one of 4 character types: Brick, Lilith, Mordecai, and Roland. In my play through, I chose Roland, whose special ability was being able to set out an automated turret. The special abilities are upgradable, allowing Roland's turret to gain rockets and elemental powers. The 4 character types each have specialty weapons that reward the player for sticking to the assigned abilities. The true meat of Borderlands comes from the expansive lands. Pandora is essentially a giant desert, but mesas, sharp cliffs, and claustrophobia-inducing caves allow for some variety. The player roams Pandora, finishing tasks for the locals, all the while getting closer and closer to the vault. Scattered across the game are completely unique guns. The guns are distributed randomly, allowing different strategies to develop with different players. I favored the weapons powered with electricity, zapping any enemy to dust. The enemy types varied quite a bit, from the wolf-like skags to the super powerful Crimson Lance soldiers. Skags are vulnerable to fire and are faced early in the game, but by the time the player faces off against the Crimson Lance soldiers, weapons with explosive capabilities seem to be the only effective means against them. Borderlands delivers a good single-player experience and an adequate multiplayer experience. In multiplayer, players work together and share the money gained. The multiplayer experience allows one character to drive a vehicle and the other to man the turret on top. This became a favorite way to hang out with my friends. Even though Borderlands was released late last year, it is still a great title to pick up. Most game stores have a few copies available used for $30 or $40. Picking up used games is a great way to keep entertained and not break the bank. And for all your video game, movie, and music news, be sure to listen to Nerd's Eye View on Mondays at 3 p.m. at cypresscollegeradio.com.
The latest issue of Divergence is currently on newsstands around Cypress College campus. Make sure to grab a copy of your own and read some of the fine articles, the poetry, and check out the student art.
Thank you for tuning into this week's episode of C-Scope. Be sure to come back next week for a shocking expose of student cannibalism.
And please don't forget to log on to cycron.com for all your up-to-date Cypress College news. We'll see you next week.